Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name's Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I want to tell you right now, this is going to be a little bit of an unusual show for us, okay? Yes, we're going to be talking about earthquakes. Yes, we're going to talk about Hurricane Kiko, just southeast, actually east of the Hawaiian Islands. We're also going to talk about what has happened in Afghanistan just 1 week after the powerful 6.0 very strong earthquake hit Afghanistan. I want to give you an up-to-date story on what's happening there. It's a tragic story. I'm also going to be covering a story that the media has not even touched on, and yet this story happened at the end of August. Okay? Almost 3 weeks have passed by. The mainstream media hasn't touched a bit on it. I want to cover it because this involves people's lives. Okay? What President Trump has also been doing has touched people's lives, but this, the mayhem that has gone on in our society, in our towns, in our cities, must come to a screeching halt. Okay? I'm going to be talking on that in just a minute. I would ask that you please stand by with me for just a minute while I update our monitor here so I can monitor what's going on here with the chat. We have quite a few people in the chat. My dear friend Heidi Petrick is back here in the chat today. We appreciate her as well. My buddy Demon Catman from the east of England, one of our moderators, is here as well. Thank you very much for being here, Demon Catman. We appreciate you. Nova Scotia Rich is here from Nova Scotia. He has his own channel here. I would ask you all also, when you get a few minutes, to go over his channel and show his channel some love. He's a great man. He provides a great service on his channel. Okay? We have quite a few other people here as well, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But guys, we do a great service here on our channel. We also want to put out the information for the whole world, okay? The whole world needs to have this information, okay? First, let's talk about Hurricane Kiko off the coast of Hawaii, east of Hawaii, about 400 miles east of Hawaii. Let's go to KHON television in Hawaii for this story.
Hurricane Kiko tracks north of the islands. The National Weather Service here in Honolulu is closely monitoring its path and possible impacts. Joining us now is Derek Rowe, meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Good morning, Derek. Thanks for joining us this morning so early.
Good morning.
All right, Derek, so let's get started with the basics. Where is Hurricane Kiko right now, and how strong is it at this hour?
Right now, it's sitting about roughly 400 miles or so east of Hilo, and it's about 85 miles per hour is the intensity, so it's down quite a bit from yesterday.
That's awesome. So the storm is positioned again north of the islands, like you said. What does that mean for the track for us here in Hawaii over the course of the next couple of days?
Well, we're looking pretty good here on the track. Any threats for land are diminishing significantly. There's not a real threat for direct impacts in the islands. So it's going to be passing about 150 miles or so north of the islands during the day tomorrow and Wednesday. And when it does that, it's going to cut off our trade winds and also bring the chance for some heavier showers around and increased humidity. So we could see some heavy rainfall and definitely some uncomfortable days ahead with the increased humidity. But the biggest impact we'll see would be with the surf. We're watching that. We're expecting a pretty rapid rise in surf later on, mainly in the evening hours on the Big Island and Maui for the east-facing shores, ramping up to what we would consider to be high surf warning levels around 15 feet or so. And it'll stay that way overnight and then quickly diminish. So as you move westward, once you get towards Oahu and Kauai, kind of shift that timeline about 12 or so hours back. So we'll see that rise here on Oahu during the day on Tuesday.
All right, and just to reiterate for the viewers, so that means some of the impacts we could potentially see: high surf advisory, even warning levels. 2 major days that we're highlighting are Tuesday and Wednesday for some potential for some wet weather. But as of right now, it looks like he is weakening and downgrading, so that is some good news. What's the major takeaway then you think for viewers? Should they still be prepared with their hurricane preparedness kits over the course for just ahead for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming out of the peak of hurricane season right now, and it serves as a reminder that you should always look ahead of the season and take a look at your preparedness. And if you haven't done that, now's a great time.
Awesome. And then is there a website where we can find all of this information? Of course, you can find that here, KHWN2.com, live on the air, and our news app. But for the National Weather Service, is there a website where viewers can check out as well?
Yeah, you can just go to weather.gov, Hawaii, and that'll get you there.
Sounds good. Thank you, Derek, and thank you for everything that you guys are doing over there.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a story out of Hawaii. Again, this hurricane is well offshore right now, completely offshore right now. Let me bring up this map again and show you where this hurricane is. Okay, it's well offshore, as you can see. It's not expected to even get near Hawaii, really, when you really think about it. It's not going to get anywhere near there. Yes, we are going to see some very rainy conditions. We're going to see some high surf conditions going on. But when it comes right down to it, this hurricane is well offshore, completely offshore. Okay? It's going to bring up some tropical moisture, yes. Now, this is a hurricane, Category 1 hurricane. Okay? It was a Category 4 storm when it was out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It was downgraded to a Category 3, a Category 2, and a Category 1. Why? Because as this hurricane went further east, the hurricane hit cooler waters. Cooler waters turned off the strength of this hurricane, turned it off quite dramatically. It dropped the wind speeds down, it dropped the surf way down, and now this is just above a tropical storm. They hope within the next 24 hours that this will turn into a tropical storm with winds of at least 64 miles per hour and lower, less than 64 miles per hour. That will make it a tropical storm. Yes, there will be some high seas. There will be some rip currents as well. Again, unless you are a very experienced surfer here in Hawaii, please stay out of the water. There's going to be some rip currents as well. Okay, some high rip currents. You don't want to be caught in a rip current. We talked about that when we had Hurricane Aaron off the Atlantic coast of South and North Carolina. We don't want to go there again. But this hurricane is far enough off the Hawaiian coast right now. It should not really threaten any of the communities in the parts of the state of Hawaii with anything more than higher surf, rain, and rip currents. Okay, that's what's happening here in Hawaii. Okay, this is a very good thing that's going on now. This is a very good thing because originally last week we were thinking that this hurricane was going to strike just south of the Big Island, which would have brought very high seas to the southeast side of the Big Island. Now this hurricane is going to be well north and east of the islands. Okay, it's not going to be a very big storm at all when it comes right down to it. Yes, like I said, there's going to be some heavy rains, there's going to be some higher sea conditions and rip currents. That's what can be expected. Now, do we have any questions about Hurricane Kiko? I want to make sure we address any questions about Hurricane Kiko. Rebecca the Explorer is here. She has her own channel also on YouTube. Please also go over to her channel and show her channel some love. She does a great job on her channel as well. Okay. Judy Olson is here. Thank you for being here, Judy. God bless you. My buddy George Richard is here. Thank you for being here, George. God bless you. We appreciate you being here. Does anybody have any questions about Hurricane Kiko? Nova Scotia Rich is talking about a 4.2 earthquake over in the Fiji region. We'll be going over there and addressing what is going on in Fiji in just a few minutes. But does anybody have any questions about Hurricane Kiko? We told you last week we would be talking about this now, and yes, we are doing that. I want to address anybody here that has questions. Yes, we do have EMA family members living on the islands of Hawaii. I also have family members and dear friends over on Hawaii as well. That's why I want to make sure we're addressing all the questions that you might have. Okay? Very much appreciated. Rebecca the Explorer is also one of my dearest sisters as well here, and she's a moderator on this channel. I want to express our love and caring for her and her family as well. Okay? Okay. Since you don't have any specific questions about Hurricane Kiko, let's go over to the USGS map for at least a little bit, and let's talk about what is going on with the earthquakes worldwide. Okay? I'm going to spend some time talking about the earthquakes worldwide here. There is a lot of information here. I want to touch on it. Okay? I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on. Yes, right now this map is showing the information here. The information here on a worldwide scale up in the North Pacific. Yes, I'm going to get here. In fact, let's start here in the North Pacific. Okay? While we're here. Okay? Over here at the Kamchatka Peninsula, again, we are still seeing aftershocks from an 8.8/9.4 earthquake that hit here about a month ago. 3 weeks to a month ago. Okay? Here we see a 5.0 earthquake here. Now, all we have here on the USGS map or any of the earthquake maps are large earthquakes. That's all that's happened. Large earthquakes. Nothing more, nothing, and quite a bit less. Yes, there are some moderate earthquakes, there are small earthquakes, and there are minor earthquakes as well, and a lot of tremors. But right now, we don't have anything larger than large earthquakes. I want to emphasize that. This earthquake just south and east of Kamchatka Peninsula in the Kuril Island area, K-U-R-I-L, Kuril Island area, this is a large 5.0. This is also 54 kilometers deep. This is a fairly shallow earthquake. Just to the north, also on this earthquake ridge here. Okay, look where it's at. It's on this ridge coming out of Japan. Okay, this is a 5.2/5.3 earthquake. When this earthquake first came out, it was designated as a 5.3 earthquake. They have brought it down to 5.2 earthquake. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. As we've seen with other large earthquakes in this region, this seismic energy is going to go up this earthquake trench here, this earthquake plate fault. Okay, this is the Pacific plate bordering on the obtuse plate. This seismic energy is going to go up here to the western Aleutian Island chain. Then it's going to go eastbound over towards Alaska here. Yes, we'll talk about earthquakes here in the United States in a few minutes. Okay, but this is what's happening here, and I just told you how this earthquake track is going to go. Okay, seismic energy follows the edge of the plates. Seismic energy follows the edge of the plates, and I'm telling you what's going to happen in the short near future. Okay, now let's drop down here to Japan. Okay, yes, we have earthquakes here in Japan. Off the coast of Honshu right here. Off the coast of Honshu, Japan right here. We have a 4.5 moderate earthquake out in the ocean. Okay, this happens to be 53 miles east-southeast of Tomioka, Japan, off of Honshu. 4.5 moderate earthquake. This is 28 kilometers deep. Being offshore like it is, nobody felt the seismic energy onshore. The ocean waters have absorbed the shock waves of this quake. We go further south here, off the southeast side of Kyoto, Japan. This is a 4.6 earthquake over here in the Izu Islands of Japan. The Izu Islands of Japan, a 4.6 moderate earthquake. This happens to be 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Again, nobody felt this earthquake. Nobody here on these Izu Islands felt this earthquake at all. The Izu Islands are basically bird sanctuaries, and nobody lives on the islands. Okay? At least that's what I've been told over the years. Okay? The Izu Islands belong to Japan. Nobody felt this earthquake. It's far enough away from land, and the islands, nobody felt this earthquake. Let's go further south over here through the Mariana Trench. Okay? Over here. Right here. This is a 4.7 moderate earthquake. A 4.7 moderate earthquake, also 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. 4.7 earthquake, 139 miles east of Cabagel, Palau, here in the Pacific Ocean. Nobody felt this earthquake at all either. Nobody felt this earthquake at all. Let's go over here, okay? They took an earthquake down here off of Taiwan. They took an earthquake down here off of Taiwan. We had a 5.0 earthquake off of the coast of Taiwan right here. Far enough off the coast, again, I believe it was 57 miles off the coast of Taiwan. Nobody felt this earthquake either. Nobody. The ocean waters of the South China Sea absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Okay? Now, I'm sorry, right here, I'm sorry. That was over in the Philippines, okay? This is the earthquake I'm talking about. This has been downgraded to 4.8 earthquake. Yes, it was a 5.0 enlarged earthquake. Been downgraded. 6.2 miles deep here. Nobody felt this earthquake. Again, this is 58 miles off the coast of Taiwan. Nobody felt this earthquake. Okay? We go down here to the northern islands of the Philippines. They don't show any earthquakes. There have been moderate earthquakes here. Again, this is off the coast of the Philippines. Nobody felt any of these earthquakes here. Okay, let's go down here to the central Philippines here. The South Central Philippines. Here we have a 5.3 earthquake here. Okay. This is off the coast of Dinagat, Philippines. A large 5.1 earthquake here. However, let's zoom in here and let me show you exactly where this hit. This hit on land. Okay? Yes, there are people that are living here. This is a 5.1 large earthquake. The people living here on this island here have felt this earthquake. Okay? There are people living over here, and I can't on this map get any closer than this, but just southeast of this earthquake here, there's a small town here. Further south here to the east, there's a larger city here. They felt this earthquake. This may have had some devastating consequences for this island. People felt this earthquake. People probably have been displaced. Now, I have not got any consequences in the media telling us what happened here. But this is a large earthquake here, a 5.3 large earthquake. Large earthquakes have consequences, regardless of what the USGS would have you to say. USGS calls this a moderate earthquake. 5.0, 5.3, 5.5, 5.9 earthquakes have consequences. These are not moderate earthquakes. 5.0, 5.9 earthquakes have consequences. They are dangerous earthquakes. They cause massive damage. They're not moderate, they're massive damage earthquakes. Okay? That's what happened here in the central Philippines. Let's go further south here. Okay? This island here is Mindanao, Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines. Now, they don't show any large earthquake here on the island here. Let's go further south here. This is a 4.6 off the southern part of Mindanao, Philippines. Okay? For the most part, they didn't even feel this earthquake because it was a moderate earthquake, 4.6, 21 miles off the coast here. I don't believe anybody felt this earthquake. The ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. However, there's another quake you need to be aware of. There's definitely another quake you need to be aware of. Let me move this map up here. This earthquake right here. This is a 4.2 earthquake. While it is a moderate earthquake, it is very much a moderate earthquake. But folks, this is a deep earthquake. Deep earthquakes also have consequences. As we have spoken about deep earthquakes before. Okay? Deep earthquakes propagate or make large earthquakes. They birth large earthquakes, larger shallow earthquakes. This is a deep earthquake, okay? 360 kilometers deep. Okay? That means this earthquake right here is probably going to propagate a 4.7, 4.8 larger, shallower quake. Okay? It's going to propagate a 4.6, 4.7 moderate earthquake here. All right? Let's continue this conversation here. Let's go down here to Indonesia. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake here off the northeastern coast of Manokwari, Indonesia. This was a shallow earthquake. Shallow earthquake off in the ocean. Now this being where it is, 14 miles northeast of Manokwari, Indonesia. I don't believe anybody on this island felt this earthquake. I don't believe anybody on this island felt this earthquake other than some possibly, very possibly, small shaking. Small shaking like movement under your feet. No real shaking here. A moderate earthquake on land, you feel more like not just movement under your feet, but you see pictures and things falling off of walls and very moderate damage. Okay, here off of the coast, this has done nothing to the people here in Indonesia at all. Okay, let's go over here to southeast, actually east of Java here. East of Java. This near Komodo, Indonesia. A 4.4 earthquake here, also 106 kilometers deep. Not a big deal. Moderate earthquake out here in the Banda Sea, nothing's going on here. Nothing's going on. Move further east of Java here. This is a little bit different earthquake. This is a 4.1 earthquake. This is 200 kilometers deep. Out also in the Banda Sea. Okay? Again, this earthquake did no damage at all. Nobody felt this earthquake at all. Okay? Let's go further east over here. We've talked about Indonesia and also Papua New Guinea. They don't have any earthquakes at all here. But they have more earthquakes than this. There are presently 36 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 36 earthquakes here in Indonesia. Now I'm going to bring up my device here. I want to show you the earthquakes. And even on the device, there are actually more earthquakes than even my device is showing. Okay? But there are more earthquakes here, and I want to show you what's going on. Somebody the other day left me a message, Ron, show us the earthquakes on your device. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want you to be aware of exactly what's going on. You deserve to know, because the agency's not going to be honest with this at all. They've never been honest with us. They're not going to be honest with us at all. Okay? So let's go over here to Indonesia. Let's show you the earthquakes here. Look at this, guys. Look at all these earthquakes. 36 earthquakes here in Indonesia. They're not even showing us all the quakes. This could be very devastating, these people here in Indonesia. Because yes, there are some 4.6, 4.7 earthquakes, small earthquakes 3.0 to 3.9, and some minor earthquakes as well, 2.0 to 2.9. Okay, these people felt earthquakes. They felt a lot of earthquakes. Okay, let's go over here just briefly and show you exactly what's happened. Look at that. Earthquakes all over the place here, guys. The United States Geological Survey is not showing you even half, not even a third, not even a quarter of what's actually happened here. The United States Geological Survey is lying to the public. Absolutely lying to the public. Okay? They can't be trusted. They cannot be trusted. Now, why do I want to say that? They used to talk about earthquakes. They used to show all kinds of earthquakes all around the world. Over the years, they've shown less and less earthquakes. Now, because it's a U.S. agency, let me briefly go over the United States and show you what's going on. Look at this. Yes, they're showing quite a few more earthquakes here in the United States, but even here in the United States, they're not showing all the earthquakes. They're absolutely not showing you all the earthquakes. You'd think if it was a United States agency, they would be very honest with all of us. But they're not doing it. They're not doing it. My buddy Brokefish in Oregon is here. Welcome, Brokefish, and we appreciate you being here. Brokefish is a very dear friend of mine over in Oregon, Southern Oregon, and he's a very good man here. He has his own channel here. Well, you also ought to go over and talk to him over on his channel and show his channel some love as well. Okay? He has a lot of fire information. Tons of fire information. Okay? We rely on him for fire information as well. Tonight, we're not going to talk about that because we have so much other things to talk about. But in the coming days, I'm going to probably call him and get him here to talk to all of you about what's actually going on with the fires. Yes, we have some severe fire danger going on. Okay? I'm not going to lie to you. Not going to lie to you at all. Now, over in Australia. See Australia here? Let me take our webcam back down here. Look at Australia. Look at Australia. Over here in the desert of Australia, we had a 5.2 earthquake here yesterday. USGS showed it for a short while and took it down. 5.2 large earthquake over here in the northwestern desert of Australia. But they're still not showing all the earthquakes here. Heaven forbid they tell us the truth. They're not telling us the truth. Here we have a 2.61 earthquake here. A 2.61 earthquake here. Southwestern Australia. Yes, we have earthquakes here in southwestern Australia all the time. And also earthquakes over here in southeastern Australia as well. Today, we don't have any earthquakes here in southeastern Australia. Okay, now, with that said, I'm not done. I'm not done. Let's back out of Australia here. Let's go over here to New Zealand. I want to show you exactly what's going on. South of the South Island of New Zealand here. Okay, right here. Guys, this is a large 5.2 earthquake. A large 5.2 earthquake. It is a shallow earthquake. This is 9 miles deep. 9 miles deep. Shallow earthquake. Just about 14 kilometers deep. Now, USGS is showing us an earthquake over here on the northwest side of the South Island here. Right here. This is a 4.2 earthquake. A moderate 4.2 earthquake. It hit here in the mountainous region of New Zealand here on the South Island. 4.2 earthquake, guys, but guess what? There are people here on the South Island that felt this earthquake. Yes, it was a moderate earthquake, but where it's at, in the mountainous region, this is a mountainous region and has a lot of rock strata, which means the seismic energy is going to travel through the rock. It's going to be felt all over the island, especially over here to the northern parts of the island here. These cities and towns where people live felt this earthquake. And even further down south here, there's a fairly good sized town called Richmond here. They felt this earthquake. They felt this earthquake. But again, are they telling us the truth about everything that's going on here on the South Island? Heck no. Let me show you what's going on. Today, over here on the South Island, we have more earthquakes than we've had in a long time here. Let me bring up my webcam again. Let me show you what's exactly going on here. Look at this. Yes, I'm going to show you the track of these earthquakes. You need to know what these earthquakes are and why. We're going to start down here on the south part of the South Island here. Okay? Down here at the tip of the island. This is a 4.0 earthquake. 4.0 moderate earthquake. Just to the southeast, this is a 4.5 earthquake. I'm not sorry for a 3.5 earthquake here. A 3.5 earthquake here. Okay? Let's go north along the earthquake fault. This earthquake fault here comes out of Fiji. This earthquake fault comes out of Fiji and goes through the North Island and then comes down here on the South Island on the west side. Okay? These earthquakes struck in the Southland Park, New Zealand. Southland Park, New Zealand. This is a 3.28 earthquake. 3.2 earthquake. Just north of there. This is a 4.6 earthquake here. A moderate 4.6 earthquake. Now, guys, let me zoom in here. I don't want anybody to even think that we're not telling you the truth. I don't believe there's anybody that lives in this region. I don't believe there's anybody that lives down here in the Southland Park of New Zealand. Okay, number one, there are fjords over here. This is a hilly and mountainous territory. Hilly mountainous territory. Let me zoom in here. I want to show you this area here. Yes, we have some rivers. Yes, we have some very snow-covered mountains here all year long. All year long, we have snow-covered regions and mountains down here. It's colder here, even the ocean. Okay, it's just north of the Antarctic Ridge. Yes, there are some people that may be living down here in the valleys. They may have felt some parts of these earthquakes. This was a moderate earthquake. That was a moderate earthquake. Okay, let's go north. Okay, over the east side. Let's go over here to the east side of the island here. Right over here. Stoneburn Otoga region, New Zealand. Stoneburg Otoga region, New Zealand. This is a 2.39 earthquake. 2.39 earthquake. Now let's go up to the north here, again on that same fault line that comes out of Fiji here. Let's go up here, right in this area right here. Okay. This is Arthur's Pass, Canterbury region, New Zealand. This is a 2.56 earthquake. Further north along that same earthquake fault is a 2.31 minor earthquake there. Okay. Now let's go up further north. Okay. Clarence, Canterbury region, New Zealand. Clarence, Canterbury region, New Zealand here. Let me bring up the map here. Right there. We have a 2.26 minor earthquake there. 2.26 minor earthquake. Again, minor earthquakes people don't feel. But for truth-telling purposes, I'm showing you what is going on, because the agency's not going to show it to you. Now let's go almost directly north and west. Okay? You need to understand what's happening. Okay? I showed you these earthquakes over here on the northwest side of the island already. Okay? Let's go over here into the inlet here. This is the Cook Strait, the body of water between the two islands. We have two earthquakes here. This earthquake is a 2.27. This other earthquake here is a 2.54. Minor earthquakes, nobody felt these earthquakes because the ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean absorb the shock waves of these quakes, and only minor earthquakes to boot. So nobody would have even felt these earthquakes. Okay, but we need to show you what's going on. Let's go over here to the North Island here. Again, the USGS is not showing any of these earthquakes here. Going over here to the south part of the North Island here. Again, on the earthquake fault. Right here. Right here. We have a 3.27 minor earthquake. A 3.27 minor earthquake. Small earthquake. Yes, anybody living over here in this area felt it. Small earthquakes, 3.0 and larger, can be felt. They can be felt. Now, let's go to the northwest here. The reason I'm taking my time and showing you this is we have people, friends of ours in New Zealand that follow this program. That's why I'm going here. Okay? The next stop over here is Waiguni region, Brunswick, Manawatu, Mangunani, or Wagunani, New Zealand here. Guys, this is a 2.26 earthquake. A 2.26 minor earthquake. There's one other earthquake along with it too. Okay? This is a 2.39 earthquake here. Minor earthquakes are not felt. Not felt. Let's go up here to the north. Okay? Again, this is important. Right up here. Guys, this is in the Tokarima region of New Zealand. This is a 2.38 earthquake. A 2.38 earthquake in the mountainous region of New Zealand. Okay? That's where it's at. Now, we have some other earthquakes. For this intent and purpose, I want to take you over to the east side of the island. Okay? Let's go over here to the east side of the island over here. Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay. Just off the coast, we have another 2.46 earthquake. 2.46 earthquake. Over on shoreline. On the shoreline. Okay? Let's go further inland. Again, here, we're in the mountainous region here in the North Island. This is a 2.48 earthquake. 2.48 earthquake. Now, we do not have any earthquakes over here near Taupo Lake. Taupo Lake is a supervolcano over here on the North Island of New Zealand. A supervolcano just like Long Valley, just like Yellowstone, and all kinds of other supervolcanoes around the world. This is a supervolcano here. Right now, they're not showing any earthquakes either on the European map or the USGS map. But I'm telling you this, there are tremors all around Taupo Lake, Taupo volcano. That's because this is a supervolcano. There are tremors all around Taupo Lake. They're not going to show them to us. Let's go further up here to the north. Okay. This area right here just south of this lake. Okay. Just south of the lake. This is a 2.3 earthquake here. Notice it is on that same earthquake fault that we saw down on the South Island, coming out of Fiji. Going up here to the north at the lake here, Tumunu, I know I'm going to butcher this. I don't speak the island language here in New Zealand, although the people here in New Zealand speak very good English. I don't speak the language. This town here is called Tumunui, New Zealand. This is a 2.37 earthquake here. Okay, 2.37 earthquake. Now over here on land here, we have no other earthquakes. We have no other earthquakes here on the North Island. However, we go out to the Bay of Plenty. We go out to the Bay of Plenty. Let me bring that area up here on the map as well. This is the Bay of Plenty. They often refer to it affectionately as the catcher's mitt because it looks like a baseball catcher's mitt. Okay? But out here in the Bay of Plenty, we have some earthquakes. Okay? This also is a 2.38 earthquake. 2.38 earthquake. Going north. This again is on that same fault line coming out of Fiji. This is a 2.8 earthquake. A 2.28 earthquake here. Okay? On the other side of the fault line, we have a 2.54, we have a 2.53, and we have a 2.39. So we have two 2.5s and 2.39 earthquake here in the catcher's mitt. All right? Any questions so far? Rich says he's going off to make some coffee. Marianne Dewar-Knotts is here as well. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Okay. Now, let's go far enough off the shore of New Zealand here. Okay. Over here. Okay. This is a 2.69 earthquake here. It's on that fault line coming out of Tonga. This fault line coming out of Tonga here. Okay. That fault line right there. 2.69 earthquake. Now, off the northeast shore of Gisborne, New Zealand here, we have more earthquakes here. This is a 2.6, and just north of that, we have a 2.41. So basically, in New Zealand itself, we have a bunch of twos, 2.2 to 2.6, 2.7, and 2.8 earthquakes, minor earthquakes here in New Zealand. Yes, down here on the south part of the North Island here, just about a month ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake right here. A 5.0 earthquake here near Palmerston, New Zealand. Okay? So we've covered earthquakes here in New Zealand. I hope our viewers here in New Zealand can appreciate what we just done, because no one else is showing the earthquakes except the European Agency. That's all. That's all. However, look what's happening here. Look what's happening here. Not only the Europeans, but the USGS are showing these earthquakes here. Let's go up here. Folks, this is the 4.2 earthquake south of Fiji. A 4.2 earthquake south of Fiji. Now, this is interesting. This is 132 miles deep. Actually, 332 miles deep. I'm sorry, 332 miles deep. This is a semi-deep quake. This being this deep is not going to propagate any larger, shallower quakes. However, how about this earthquake right here? Okay. This is a 4.4 earthquake. This 4.4 earthquake is a little bit different story. This is 368 miles deep. This is a pretty deep earthquake. This is a pretty deep earthquake. Now let me do something for you to show you exactly what's happening here. I just switched this over to kilometers deep. This earthquake here is 590 kilometers deep. 4.4 earthquake. This is a 4.2. Guess what? 534 kilometers deep. This earthquake is going to propagate a larger, shallower quake. Let me show you something. Let's go over here to the depth to magnitude conversion chart here. I want to show you this. Okay. This earthquake to the south here at 4.2, 534 kilometers deep. Look here. We have to add a 1.07 to this quake to find out how strong an earthquake this is going to propagate. This is going to propagate a 5.3, 5.4 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. This earthquake is going to birth a 5.3, 5.4 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Now, while this will propagate a large earthquake, let's go to this earthquake just north of here. Okay. Guess what? Okay. This earthquake here is 590 kilometers deep. This is a deep earthquake. This earthquake is going to propagate a much larger shallow quake. Look here at this depth of magnitude conversion chart here. Let's look seriously about this, okay? Let's go down here to 590 kilometers deep. We have to add a 1.18. We have to add a 1.18, which is going to make this a 5.5, I'm going to round it up to 5.6 to 5.7 magnitude earthquake. This is going to birth a 5.6 to 5.7 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Here in this same region, probably over here to the northeast, over in the Tonga Samoa region, here in the Fiji region. Okay, let me take out the depth of magnitude conversion chart. This is going to propagate much larger earthquake here. Both of these earthquakes are going to propagate much larger earthquakes and shallow earthquakes here in the same region, probably either here in Fiji or here, over here to the northeast in Tonga Samoa, or possibly even over here in the Vanuatu, or even over here in the Legacy Islands here, New Caledonia area here. This seismic energy could go over here to Vanuatu as well. It could go over here to the Solomon Islands, or even Papua New Guinea. Okay, but we're going to see mid-range 5 earthquakes, mid-range large earthquakes here within the next 3 to 10 days. As a result of these 2 earthquakes here in Fiji, that's what's going to happen. Now, as you can see, we have a new earthquake here. This earthquake here in red. Okay, I just turned it blue. This also is a very deep earthquake. This is a 4.2 earthquake, however. A 4.2 earthquake. 390 kilometers deep. Let me take the map down really quick. Let's go over here to the depth of magnitude conversion chart here and show you exactly what's going to happen here. Right here, again, 590 kilometers deep. We're going to add a 1.18 to this earthquake. So instead of being a 4.2, we're going to again look at a 5.3 to 5.4 earthquake in this region. Okay, we're going to look at a 5.2 to 5.3 earthquake, possibly even upwards of a 5.4 earthquake here in this region within the next 3 to 10 days. So we are expecting 3 mid-range large earthquakes. We're expecting 3 mid-range large earthquakes within the next 3 to 10 days. Okay? Any questions about that? Any questions, guys? My buddy Canadian Patriot One is here over from southeastern Canada. Thanks for being here, Dave. We appreciate you so much. God bless you. God bless you. I am so glad to see our buddy Demon Catman here. We missed you, brother. We missed you. Okay? So I've covered these areas in the South Pacific. I want to go over here. There's a region. There's a reason here. Okay, this is a 4.4 earthquake here. 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Very shallow earthquake. This is a 4.4 earthquake over here in Bhutan, Southeast Asia. Bhutan, Southeast Asia is a very poor area. A 4.4 earthquake here does a lot of damage. Even though it's only a 4.4 doing moderate damage, these people here that live here don't have much money. They also have very poor housing. So when a moderate earthquake hits here, it does a lot of damage. Now, we haven't had any reports of damage here from this area, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen here and what's already happened. Okay? These people got devastated today with a 4.4 earthquake here. Okay? I want to go over here to Afghanistan. We're up here near Kabul and Jalalabad, Afghanistan. I have some more information about this area here. A lot of information how I want to tell you about that. A week ago, Afghanistan got hit with a 6.0 very strong earthquake. Some people here on YouTube called it a major earthquake. It was not. It was a major earthquake due to damage alone. Okay? I'm going to tell you what's going on here. This is very sad. Now, I had an interview with a doctor here in this area, but you can't hardly hear him or understand him because of his thick accent here in Farsi. Okay? But I want to tell you what happened here. Okay? In Afghanistan. Again, this is a very hot area, arid desert area. Okay? An American aid coordinator with the World Health Organization and the United Nations was here and filed a report. I'm going to play a portion of that report for you here. It's not good. It's not good at all. This is kind of hard to deal with. I'm going to be honest with you. This is kind of hard to deal with because these people here have almost no money. They don't have much money at all. Okay? They live very poorly. The Taliban fighters are the ones here that are ruling this area. They don't like women here. The United Nations is having a very hard time getting women in here to give aid. Nurses, for example, and doctors from the United States or other countries. They don't want them coming in here because of what they might say or do. They don't want those women in here, which is a very sad state of affairs. Now, I'm going to tell you a very sad story. Let me let you listen to one of the people from the United Nations that was here.
For joining us here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm speaking to you from Jalalabad in eastern Afghanistan, where it's been 1 week since the 6.0 magnitude earthquake struck this region, followed by a series of aftershocks over the past days, ranging from 5.2 to 5.6 in magnitude. I've been here on the ground for the last 5 days, visiting the most impacted areas and engaging with affected communities, including a trip to the earthquake's epicenter on a UN interagency road mission on Friday. We traveled to the WFP hub that's being established in Mazar-e Dara and Nurgal district of Kunar province to provide key response enablers for scaling up, including an unhoused helicopter to ensure humanitarians and supplies can reach these areas. These areas are some of the most remote rural areas of the country. Even before the earthquake, these villages were difficult to reach. Now, with the earthquake, it takes extraordinary effort to get there. Our trip from Jalalabad of roughly 100 kilometers or 60 miles required more than 6.5 hours. The only road in and out is a narrow single-lane track carved into the mountainside. During our mission, the road was blocked by large rocks from landslides and many vehicles trying to get up and down the valley, including large trucks overloaded with humanitarian assistance rushing to get to the most affected areas. As we drove towards the epicenter, we saw families walking in the opposite direction, displaced, carrying what little they could. Many were still wearing the same clothes from the night of the earthquake. Mothers and fathers were carrying their children, some with fresh bandages covering their injuries. The devastation only got worse as we got closer. Entire villages had been destroyed. Search and rescue operations in the area had been concluded by Friday. However, when we reached Mazaradara, the smell of dead animals from the surrounding villages was overwhelming. We saw families whose lives had been shattered just within a few minutes. The earthquake had destroyed their homes, their farms, and their livelihoods, leaving them with absolutely nothing. The conditions on the ground there are dire. Some families are living in crowded tents, while many are sleeping under the open skies, exposed to rain and cold. There was no clean drinking water and no sanitation. With cholera endemic in the region and initial assessments indicating that 92% of these communities are practicing open defecation, the potential for a cholera outbreak is alarming. Scaling up wash assistance, including clean water, soap, and latrines, is a top priority to prevent the worst outcomes. Today, I visited 3 IDP sites in Kaskunar district, meeting with affected communities and spending most of the day speaking with women and girls. Overall, the affected communities are struggling with basic survival. They urgently need water, tents, and food. Women in particular emphasize their need for water and adequate clothing, both for themselves and their children. These communities are devastated. Everyone I spoke with had lost multiple family members. Most of them are deeply traumatized and in need of psychosocial support. We also observed many malnourished mothers and young children. While nutrition screening and treatment services are ongoing in some sites, this needs to be urgently scaled up. In Afghanistan in recent years, women and girls have been pushed to the very margins of society and survival. We know from previous earthquakes and other crises that women and girls always bear the heaviest burden. This is why their needs must be central to our humanitarian response. The teams on the ground have been racing to the affected areas with assistance as fast as the difficult road conditions will allow, and the needs are overwhelming. OCHA is on the ground closely working with all humanitarian partners and engaging with communities to ensure that assistance reaches the most vulnerable, including women and girls. But time is running out. Any day, rainfall could cause flash floods in the valleys where the IDP sites have been established. Additional aftershocks could cause more severe landslides, cutting off access to communities still living near the epicenter. Also, at the end of October, the winter season will begin, and snow will cut off access to these mountain valleys. If we don't act now, these communities may not survive the coming winter. Additional funding is urgently needed. Without immediate support, the weeks ahead risk compounding this tragedy with preventable disease outbreaks, further displacement, and additional loss of life. While additional international support is coming in, flexibility and speed are critical. A response plan is being finalized and will be launched tomorrow to cover immediate life-saving needs. The Emergency Relief Coordinator has already released $5 million from the SURF, and the Afghanistan Humanitarian Fund will complement this with an allocation of another $5 million, but the scale of the devastation demands much, much more. Communities are asking for our collective support, not only to survive today, but to have the strength to rebuild their lives tomorrow. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you today, and over to you in New York.
Okay, that's what she said. She's over there in Afghanistan, helping render aid. These people are devastated. Some of these people live in caves in the mountains. Others, as you can see, are living in tents now. Their villages were made out of mud. Their homes were made out of mud, and now they are devastated. Their villages have been flattened by the earthquake. And even though the USGS is not even showing what is going on now, the earthquakes are continuing. The aftershocks are continuing here in this area. It's not getting much better. It's not getting much better at all. Okay? You all, everybody, all of us need to pray for these people in Afghanistan. They need our help. Yes, they're living in squalor because of the government. We tried to help them at one point in time, but our president at the time, President Biden, fumbled the ball and left even our own people there in Afghanistan. And people died. Things are not getting any better because the Taliban won't let it happen. The Taliban won't let it happen. Now, I have more information to share with you tonight. I'm going back here to the United States to talk about this. Okay? We need to understand what's happening, even in our own world. We need to address it because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else at all is going to do it. If we don't do something about it, even our own people here in the US and other countries, including Europe, I'm talking England, I'm talking about Scandinavia, I'm talking about Ukraine, I'm talking about Croatia, I'm talking about Romania, I'm talking about Greece, I'm talking about all areas of the world. What happened here just a few weeks ago here in the United States cannot be allowed to happen. Can't be allowed to happen. What's gone on? What do you think's gone on? We had a Ukrainian refugee that showed up here this year. Ukrainian refugee showed up here this year. Guess what? August 23rd, she met her death. A Black American that had been released from jail 13 different times. 13 different times. He killed people. He killed and injured people. He was released from prison 13 times. And he went about to kill somebody else. Let this man tell you his story. He has a lot here to say. Let me let him tell it to you. Okay? This man has a good story here.
A Ukrainian woman was murdered by homeless men, but some media isn't reporting it. And it's a pattern of being silent when the killer is Black and the victim is white, and loud when it's the opposite. On August 22nd, Irina Zarutska sat down on a bus in front of DeCarlos Brown. DeCarlos, for no apparent reason, stabbed her in the throat. This was cold-blooded murder. Irina was a white, blonde, Ukrainian refugee who fled the war. DeCarlos is a Black, homeless, 4-time felon who just left jail. I hate that I even need to mention their skin colors, but I do. Because if this had been a white man murdering a Black woman, this would be nonstop national news. And yet, the New York Times hasn't reported on it. CNN hasn't reported on it. MSNBC hasn't reported on it. What do they all have in common? They're all on the left. This is clearly newsworthy. It touches multiple third rails: race, immigration, Ukraine war, homelessness, and crime. So why aren't they reporting on it? Because there's a race-based double standard in the media. Now, make no mistake, right-wing media like Fox News and New York Post are biased too. And here's the thing. The media is overwhelmingly left-leaning. 30 to 60% of journalists are on the left. 5 to 7% are on the right. So we're all getting a skewed version of reality. One in which white on black crime is worthy of marching, but black on white crime isn't worth mentioning. Both are equally wrong. But we've been conditioned to see race first and principle second. And it's swinging the pendulum from one irrational extreme to the other, from white people being elevated to white people being denigrated. Meanwhile, black-white race relations are worse than they were at the start of the century. But why should I, a black man, care? Because we all should. We're supposed to be ending racism, not flipping who gets to be racist. And if we don't correct this, many white people will become resentful, and they'll swing the pendulum back to black. We can't keep doing this. In the face of evil, we must let go of racial preferences and focus on principles. All decent people must say, I don't care what color they are. A person murdering another person in cold blood is evil. All humans must say, I don't care who started it. A boy stabbing another unarmed boy at a track meet is wrong. All mature adults must say, I don't care how mistreated you feel. A woman calling a child a racial slur is disgusting. In a race war to the bottom, no one wins. The division shouldn't be black versus white. It should be wrong versus right. The media profits from us being divided, but you don't have to play that game. That's why I built Clear Thinker, so you can see right through it.
Okay. Here's where he says clearthinking.com. But his basic tenet here is what is correct here. Okay. A woman back on August 22nd, 23rd was killed on board a subway here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Killed. No reason. No reason at all. She was just sitting in front of another assailant. Again, a man that had been released from prison 13 times. 13 times. And he killed her. Killed her in cold blood. Came up from behind her and killed her in cold blood, stabbed her 13 times in the neck. She bled out. Nobody else on that subway train here in Charlotte, North Carolina lifted a finger or said or did anything. Now, yes, it is here in North Carolina. I live here in North Carolina. I was in Charlotte just a few weeks ago when Carol lost her mother. I took her to Charlotte to catch a plane to Utah. This kind of thing cannot be allowed to happen, whether it's here in North Carolina, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, or wherever it is. It cannot be allowed to continue. Why am I talking about this? Why do you think I'm talking about it? Because, guys, I heard a report and I wish I could bring it to you, but unfortunately, I was not able to. I heard a report from yesterday that a bunch of people in Chicago were chanting, President Trump, please help us. President Trump, please help us. The murder rate in Chicago is overwhelming. The murder rate in Chicago is higher than any place in the world. The murder rate in Chicago is way overwhelming. The people are there asking for help. Yet Mayor Johnson in Chicago is not willing to lift a hand. In fact, he said that he's going to get sand trucks that they had reserved for wintertime to come out on the streets of Chicago and block roadways so ICE can't get in. They're going to block streets in Chicago so Immigration Customs Enforcement can't get these criminals off the street. I'm saying criminals for a reason. A large majority of these immigrants are criminals. Let me remind you, when Biden opened up the border, countries around the world emptied out their prisons, emptied out their mental hospitals, and let these people escape to the United States. They're here. They're here causing crime. They're here maiming and injuring and killing people. President Trump said within the next 2 days, he's going to make a final decision about exactly when, not if, but when, he will put troops on the streets in Chicago. The troops are already in Chicago right now. They just haven't been deployed. Customs Border Enforcement has already been there. ICE, Customs Immigration Enforcement, is there right now on the streets. They are already making arrests. But Mayor Johnson is there to try to stop them. More reinforcements are coming. Homeland Security, Federal Protective Service, Immigration's Customs Enforcement agents, more of them are going to descend on Chicago. More National Guard troops from across this nation will descend on Chicago as well. The date and time is still up in the air, but it will probably be within the next 2 days. Governor Pritzker in Chicago is also saying, no, you don't. You're not coming into our city. You're not coming into our state. He's going to protest. He's going to make sure the Chicago Highway Patrol, the state police, and other police are not going to be allowed to cooperate with the federal police, not allowed to cooperate with drug enforcement, not allowed to cooperate with the troops on the street. Unreal. In other words, what we're saying is Chicago and the state of Illinois is under siege by their own politicians. The politicians want to have people die. They are allowing it to happen. They don't want to have things any better than what they are now. Maybe worse. Chicago and all, I can't say all, but the majority of Illinois is under siege by bad people. The Democrat Communist Party of America is colonizing these bad places and making them worse. It can't continue. We cannot allow our country, we cannot allow England, we can't allow Stockholm, Copenhagen, Oslo, or any of the other cities in Scandinavia or in Europe. We can't allow that to continue. London is also under siege. Birmingham, England is also under siege. A lot of towns and cities all over England are under siege. Everywhere is experiencing this. It's not just here. It's got to come to a screeching halt. We have to take back our cities. We have to take back our towns. We have to take back our countries. How can we do it? How can we do it? We need to stand up. We need to stand up united people. We have to stand up as a united people and say, we're not going to allow this to continue. I need to make another statement also about something else here that is along the same lines. This is hard to take. Governor Pritzker yesterday told the people in Illinois that he is outlawing religion. He is outlawing religion in Illinois. In other words, are you going to be allowed to worship as you please? Not in Illinois. Not in Illinois. You could be arrested in Illinois if you pray in the streets. If you go to your churches and pray, you could also be arrested. That's how far these people gotten offline. They don't care about any one of us. They don't care about any one of us. Linda comes in and says she worked in downtown Chicago at Lakeside VA Hospital back in the late 70s. I'm sure Linda saw it getting bad then. It's even worse now. And that was at a VA hospital. Imagine other civilian hospitals around this country. Things have gotten bad. They're only going to get worse. Now, with that said, Rebecca the Explorer, Hurricane Heather, and also Rich have said that there has been a very strong 6.8 earthquake in Vanuatu. Let's go back to the USGS map here. Okay? For the time being, I'm taking down our banner here. I'm going to go back to the USGS map and see if the USGS has even put this earthquake up yet. Right here. This is that 6.8 earthquake in the Vanuatu region. Okay, that's out in the ocean. Out in the ocean. This is 10 kilometers deep. This is a very shallow earthquake. Let's zoom in here. It does not look like there are any islands that are occupied here in Vanuatu. That's a good thing. Now, with that said, I'm going to go over to the National Tsunami Warning Center, and I want to take a look at what's going on there. Okay? I am going over here right now. I'm on the tsunami.gov website here. I'm going over here to American Samoa here and look and see here whether they are going to have any tsunamis there. This should show us what's going on. Okay? Now, let me do this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I want you to see it. Oh, great. It's not cooperating. Okay, just a second. I'm gonna bring this up and show it to you just to have a shake here. Oh wow. Okay, they don't want us to see it. They want me to show it to you here. I'm going to try to do this another way here because I want to show it to you. Okay, it's going to cooperate here. Good. Just a second here. All right, I've got it. 6.8, very strong earthquake, guys. This is just a hair less than a major earthquake. Literally a hair less than a major earthquake. Let me bring up this tsunami warning notice here. This is the warning message that the National Tsunami Warning Center just gave us here. Okay? I want you to see it here. Okay? Tsunami Information Statement number 1. The National Weather Service and National Tsunami Warning Center, Palmer, Alaska, issued this. This is Tsunami Information Statement for Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and California. There is no tsunami danger for the U.S. West Coast of British Columbia or Alaska. We knew that. We knew that. So that's not going to do us any good. What I'm going to do now is try to bring up the notice for Guam, or not Guam, but Tonga, Samoa region here. Okay, hold on a second. I'll bring this here with you. Okay, this is the latest information here. Okay, coming out of Honolulu, Hawaii. Okay, an earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 6.8 occurred in the Vanuatu Islands region at about 10:48 a.m. Monday, September 8th. Based on all available data, there is no tsunami threat to American Samoa from this earthquake. Probably not Tonga either. Okay, no actions required. No tsunami impacts are expected. Okay, a 6.8 earthquake occurred 6 miles deep, Vanuatu region. This will be the only statement issued for this event unless additional data are received and the situation changes. Further information about this event may be found at internet at www.tsunami.gov. Authoritative information about the earthquake from the U.S. Geological Survey can be found at USGS.gov. And a statement. That was it. In other words, they are not expecting any kind of tsunami from this earthquake in Vanuatu. This was a very strong 6.8 earthquake, just less than a 7.0. 7.0 would have been a major earthquake. That would have been a major earthquake, but this is a 6.8. This could have caused a tsunami, but it did not. This did not cause a tsunami at all. Now I'm going to go over here and pull up some more information for you. Give me just a second here. The USGS doesn't expect us to do what I'm doing right now. Okay, I'm going to the back seismologist study page, pull up information here. Okay, you can also do that by clicking on this earthquake here, then going over to the left side of the USGS website and click on the earthquake information there. Okay, once you click on that information, it will bring up another page that says M6.4. They've already reduced this to a 6.4 earthquake. Imagine that. Almost a full half magnitude than what it was. They've already distinctly downgraded this quake to a 6.4 earthquake. Go figure. From a 6.8 to a 6.4 magnitude earthquake. I scroll down this back seismologist study page to the title topic origins. the topic origins. Then you scroll down, you see magnitudes. I'm going to click on magnitudes now, okay? It shows a 6.4 with 5 or 53 stations reporting, no station details contributed. They show a 5.8 with 88 stations reporting. This was definitely not a 5.8. Yes, they downgraded this to a 6.4, but it was not. Okay? They further downgrade this on paperwork to be a 5.8 earthquake. I'm going to go over here and look at it. I'm going to read you the information off the report here. They've had one of the stations, one of the seismographs is reporting a 5.6, a 5.44, a 5.93, a 5.93, 5.57, 5.97, 5.58, 5.72, 5.95. Do you get my drift, guys? Do you get my drift? They are reporting earthquakes larger than even a 5.8. The next one is a 6.35 earthquake. 5.67, 6.14. 5.7, 5.72, 5.86, 5.5, 6.07, 6.11, 6.0, 5.92, 6.19, 5.92, 5.97, 6.32, 5.44, 5.88, 5.77, 5.22, 6.07, 5.76, 5.83, 6.22 again. This earthquake was not a 5.8 earthquake at all. And yet they are putting it out to look like a 5.8 earthquake, not a 6.4, not a 6.8 that they reduced it to. So they are out and out lying to the public. They have downgraded this to a 6.4, not a 6.8. Rebecca is asking if we're going to do U.S. earthquakes. Yes, we'll go over there right now. We'll go over there right now and show you what's going on, okay? Over in Alaska, south of Kodiak Island. This is a 3.5 earthquake, south of Kodiak Island, 3.5 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep, okay? You can see other minor earthquakes around here and tremors as well, okay? Going up here into the Cook Inlet. This is Cook Inlet. Cook Strait is down in New Zealand between the North and South Island of New Zealand. This is the Cook Inlet here in Alaska. Going up here in the Cook Inlet. Let's go over here and show you this. Again, they've reduced this to a 6.4 earthquake now. Go figure. Go figure. Again, south of Kodiak Island, this is a 3.5 earthquake. Okay. Over here towards the peninsula here, south of Sandpoint, Alaska, 2.2 earthquake. Not surprising. Not surprising. Further over here on the peninsula here, a 1.6 tremor. Ugashik, Alaska. Here in the inlet over here on the west side of Kodiak Island, a 1.6 tremor here. Going up here into the inlet here, this is a 1.6. This is a 1.6. And this is also minus 0.7. Interesting. Just south just south of Mount Redoubt. They're saying we have a minus 0.7, which is above sea level. Interesting, no cigar. This is a mile and a half deep. A mile and a half deep. This is not above sea level. Okay? Let's go further north up here. Just outside of Anchorage, southern Anchorage here, we have a 1.3 tremor here. Okay? We go across the Cook Inlet here, we have a 1.3 near Beluga. This is a 1.4. We go north here. Trevor Creek, Alaska. Trevor Creek, Alaska. 2.2 earthquake. 2.2 minor earthquake. Southeast of Denali National Park. This is a 2.0 earthquake. The southern reaches of Denali here, we have another 2.3 earthquake here. 2.3. We go over here to the northern part of Denali National Park. Guess what? We have a 1.5 tremor. On the western side of Denali National Park here, this is a 2.0 minor earthquake. 30 kilometers northwest of Denali, Alaska. USGS has this as southwest of Denali. It's not. It's northwest of Denali. You can plainly see it's not south at all. But again, USGS can't tell us the truth, can they? Let's go over here. Okay? This is 2 miles northeast of Ellison Air Force Base, Alaska. 1.0 tremor here. Further out here to the northwest, guess what? A 0.7 microquake. A 0.7 microquake here. Let's zoom out here. We do not have any earthquakes north of here. There are no earthquakes over here in this gray area, which is actually the Arctic Circle. There are no earthquakes up around the north shore of the state of Alaska, which would be the oil and gas pumping region of Alaska. Nothing here. It's centered back basically down here in southern Alaska, south central Alaska. Okay? Let's go down here to the southwest here, southeast here. Okay? Over here in Canada, right here over in Canada. I just love it when they do this. USGS says this is a 2.1 explosion here. Really? A 2.1 explosion here? Let's look at where it is. Okay, this is not, I repeat, this is not in a quarry. This is not an explosion. This is a 2.1 earthquake here. This is a 2.1 earthquake here in southern Canada here, southwestern Canada. Let's zoom out here. This is not the only earthquake here. Down here, further closer to the US-Canadian border here, right here. This is a 1.6 earthquake here. Tremor. 8 kilometers southwest of Chilliwack, Canada. Southwest of Chilliwack, Canada. 1.6 tremor. Remember where this is at, guys. Remember where this is at. You can say this is the Cascadia region. This is the Cascadia region. Let's drop over here to the U.S. side of the border. Mount Redoubt. Mount Redoubt. Actually, this is not Mount Redoubt. I'm sorry. This is Mount Baker. Sorry about that. I was getting ahead of the game. Mount Baker. Guess what? This is a 1.0 tremor here near Darrington, Washington. 1.0 tremor here southwest of Mount Baker near Darrington, Washington. This is a volcanic area, a huge volcanic area in this region right here. 1.0 tremor. Now, I did not pull seismic energy. I didn't pull the seismographs here to show you today here in this area. Wasn't prepared for that. But I can tell you this, there are a ton of tremors. There are also earthquakes occurring here at Mount Baker. They're just not showing them. They never do. Rarely do they ever even show tremors here at Mount Baker. Rarely ever. Let's go over further to the southwest here. This is another USGS explosion here. Really? An explosion here? Grand Falls, Washington. In the past, USPS has said there have been explosions here near Grand Falls. Guess what? This is a tremor. Unless, again, they've been harvesting trees with dynamite, which I've never heard them do. This is 1.4 tremor here. This is 3 kilometers, a mile and a half west of Grand Falls, Washington. Okay? That's what this is at. Let's zoom out here. Okay? Let's go further south here. I just love this. I get to get a charge out of this. Okay? Right here. Okay? Falls City, Washington. 1.1 tremor here. That's exactly what it is. 10 kilometers east northwest or west northwest of Falls City, Washington. Interesting. Interesting. Let's go here for the south. Mount Rainier. They're not showing one doggone earthquake or tremor here, or even a microquake here at Mount Rainier. We know for a fact that Mount Rainier has earthquakes. I'm saying minor and small earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. I proved that in the past. I'm going to prove it again tomorrow. Okay? For the south here at, guess what? Mount St. Helens. Yes, they're showing earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens, but they're not showing all of them. They rarely ever do. Never. Over here to the northeast here. This is a 0.1 microquake. Okay? Northeast of Mount St. Helens. Just in the foothills of Mount St. Helens here. They say this is a 0.0 surface quake. Really? Really? Do we trust them saying this is a surface quake? Heck no. This is over 4 miles deep here. This is not a surface quake at all. This is 4 miles deep here at Mount St. Helens. Interesting. Let's go over here near the summit. Right here. This is the northeast side of the summit of Mount St. Helens. 0.1 microquake. Fascinating, but no cigar. This is 6.7 kilometers deep. Basically, 3 miles deep. Over here on the summit, they say this is 0.7 minus 0.7, meaning they say this is above sea level. Guess what? This is over a mile deep. This is over 3 kilometers deep, over a mile deep. It's not above sea level at all. It's down here inside the volcano. They're not showing any other earthquakes, but I guarantee you there are minor earthquakes, and there's also small 3.0 large earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens today. Over here on the southeast side of Mount St. Helens here, in the foothills. 0.7 microquake here. This is 0.8 of a mile deep. 0.8 of a mile deep. Further south here, guess what? 0.1 microquake, just over almost 2 miles deep, just less than 2 miles deep here. Okay, I'm zooming out. I'm going down here to the southwest. Warren, Oregon, just on the southern side of Washington. Warren, Oregon, 1.2 tremor here. Then we go over here to Mount Hood. They rarely show us activity at Mount Hood, but they're showing us this. Right at the summit of Mount Hood, 0.7 microquake. They're saying this is 7 kilometers, 3 miles northeast of Government Camp. What a joke. If anything, this is just northwest of Government Camp. Government Camp is down here in the foothills of Mount Hood. The foothills of Mount Hood. This is up here at the summit of Mount Hood. Not 7 kilometers northeast. Not even 7 kilometers up the side of the volcano. It might be 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers high. Nowhere near the height of this where it says it is, or the distance it says it is. Guess what? This is 5.5 kilometers deep, 2.5 miles deep, 2.5 miles deep inside Mount Hood. So again, the BS agency is lying to us again. They never tell us the truth, ever. I'm being convinced by the agency itself. They don't even know what the truth is. They couldn't tell the truth if their lives depended on it. Let's go out here off the Sea of Oregon, okay? Over here to the Blanco Fracture Zone. Just southeast of the Blanco Fracture Zone, here in the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. The Cascadia Subduction Zone earthquake region. This is the 2.8 minor earthquake off of Port Orford, Oregon. 151 kilometers west of Port Orford, Oregon. Let's drop down here to the southern side of the Cascadia region, off the west coast of Northern California. Let's go to this earthquake closest to Petrolia, California, on the San Andreas Fault. This is the 1.6 tremor here on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault, folks, begins right up here at the Triple Junction. Then the San Andreas Fault runs southeast through all of California. Further over here on the San Andreas Fault, further off the coast of Petrolia, California, this is a small 3.1 earthquake. Further off the coast here, off the Gorda Escarpment here, just south of the Gorda Escarpment, which is the other earthquake fault that runs west away from the coast of California. This is a 2.4 minor earthquake. So we have 3 2.0, 3.0 earthquakes here in the Cascadia southern region here off the coast of California. Okay, let's go south. I just love this. Over here, Northern California, Willows, California, a 3.0 earthquake. Further to the southwest, the Geysers, California. The geysers here in California. What is here? What do we have here, guys? We have a whole slew of earthquakes here. Whole slew of earthquakes. Swarm, south of a volcano. This volcano is called the Clear Lake volcano. The Clear Lake volcano. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to obtain steam to generate earthquakes. That was a slip of the tongue. They drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to obtain steam to generate electricity from turbines here in the geysers facility. The geysers facility is here in Sonoma County, California, in the mountains and hills of Sonoma, California. There are 81 turbines in this facility. 81 turbines here in this facility. This earthquake that I've highlighted here is a 1.1 tremor. Usually that is all we see here in the geysers facility. Yes, we see here also 2.0, 3.0 earthquakes occasionally. But most of the seismic energy here coming off the Pacific plate, hitting here in the drill points. We've explained drill points here before. It doesn't matter whether men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of a volcano to obtain steam, or they drill into the earth to obtain gas and natural gas and oil from the earth. It doesn't matter. When seismic energy comes off the Pacific plate, it hits these man-made earthquake faults. It hits these man-made earthquake faults and it causes rock to fracture. Causes rock fracturing inside these man-made earthquake faults, causing earth movement. Earth movement. As I said before, this is a 1.1 tremor. Further to the north here, this is a 0.8 microquake. Go south here, this is a 1.1 tremor here. Let's go up here to the north. This is a 0.3 microquake. Again, anywhere where they've drilled holes, even into the volcano to get steam to power turbines here, this is a man-made earthquake fault. Man-made earthquake faults here. Let's zoom in here and let me try to show you some of the drill points. The drill points where they have drilled into the earth here. Right here, just north of these roadways here. I should say northwest of these roadways. Folks, these are drill points. Drill points here. And as a result of these drill points, you see these earthquakes hit. They hit the man-made holes in the ground, the man-made earthquake faults. Okay? Now, along each of these roadways, they have plastic PVC piping, usually about 4 inches in diameter. The PVC piping runs along the roadways until it gets over to one of these facilities right here. Like I said, there are 80 turbines, or actually 81 turbines all over the geysers area. These turbines take the steam and generate electricity here for 4 energy conglomerates, including Pacific Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, and even Rocky Mountain Power that supplies power for Utah. And there's also one energy conglomerate I don't even remember. That's what happens here. There are 81 turbines throughout this entire facility, literally all over here. Literally all over this area here. That turbine facility right there. There's another facility right there. I'm going to try to see if we can find one other facility right there. There it is. There it is. Okay, that's what they do here in the geysers. That's what happens here in the geysers. Heidi Patrick says, yeah, we've had a lot of twitches and wigglets, microquakes. Yes, you're right, Heidi, we have a ton of them. literally a ton of them. Now, my buddy Brokefish said that Heidi sent out some gift memberships here. Yes, Heidi did. I want to thank Heidi for this, guys. Why? Because she allowed 5 other people that are watching this program to have memberships to our program here. As a member, you receive members-only meetings here. Yes, we conducted a members-only meeting on Thursday this week. We may conduct another members-only meeting on Wednesday this week. She gave a membership here to Let's Do Stuff, Uncle Mac here, Bellatori Sanex here, and Sitting Bear. If you received a membership from Heidi Petrick, please thank her for that membership. Like I said, we will have a members-only meeting probably Wednesday morning, about 10 a.m. Pacific time. I shouldn't say 10 a.m. Well, let's make it 10 a.m. Pacific time. That would make it 1 p.m. Eastern time. I can do 1 p.m. Eastern time. That way, everybody will be able to be in the members-only meeting. 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. 10 a.m. Pacific time, guys, Wednesday morning. Be here, be square. Yes, we'll talk about earthquakes, but we also talk about a lot of other things in a members-only meeting. We'll answer questions from anybody that has questions. So please bring your questions to the meeting. Please bring your insights to what you see here and what you'd like to see on our program. We want to know all that information from you so we can give you the information that you need and want. Okay? Now I'm going back here to the USGS map here. Thank you, Heidi Petrick, for giving us those memberships here. We definitely appreciate it. Okay, I'm just checking the chat here to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Linda Covington says, between planets lining up and solar plasma activity and red moon times are going to be wild the next few days. Many earthquakes. Let me explain what she said there. Okay? With full moons, the full moon generates high tides, doesn't it? The full moon and planetary alignments also cause electromagnetic energy. Planetary alignments, including with the full moon, cause electromagnetic radiation. That electromagnetic radiation comes from space, from the planetary alignments that penetrates the Earth's atmosphere. When it penetrates the Earth's atmosphere, it also heats up the plates. What happens when that happens? Not only does it heat up the plates, it also heats up the faults as well. All the gunk and grime, all the dirt, all the rock, all the sand, all the biological material turns into an oily, greasy-like substance, which allows the faults to more freely move like this, and also causes the plates also more freely move like this. Okay? The electromagnetic radiation and the plasma radiation from the sun comes through the atmosphere and heats up the plates. It heats up the center of the Earth as well. Heating up the plates causes earthquakes. That may be why we saw a 6.8 earthquake over in Vanuatu this evening. 6.8, very strong earthquake in Vanuatu this evening that USGS, in their infinite wisdom, downgraded a full half magnitude, and now it's a 6.4. Half magnitude downgrade. Go figure. But these planetary alignments and the plasma radiation shooting out from the sun involved with the solar flares that causes plasma radiation come out from the sun and penetrate our magnetosphere, which doesn't much slow it down right now because the magnetosphere is pretty weak right now, It's not slowing much of anything down. And the plasma radiation penetrates the atmosphere and goes over the surface of the Earth, heating up the plates, causing the plates to more freely move like this. All the gunk and the grime, all of that material that held those plates in place, all of the gunk and grime that held the faults also in place. Okay? What does it do? The sand, the dirt, the rock, the biological material holds everything in place, doesn't it? But when it heats up, it turns all that stuff into an oily, grease-like substance that allows the faults to more freely move like this, and also the plates to more freely move like this. Causes seismic energy, causes earthquakes. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. Now we can go further south here over to San Francisco. We don't see any earthquakes here in San Francisco, but I'm afraid there are earthquakes here. Again, let me go over to my device and see what it says here on the EMSC map, the European map. Okay, let's go over here to San Francisco. I almost hate doing this. Okay, the United States Geological Survey is not showing any earthquakes here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and neither are the European map. Europeans are not showing anything here. However, guess what? South of San Francisco and southeast of San Francisco Bay, southeast of Monterey Bay, different story. Way different story. Okay, first off, Hollister, California. Hollister, California. This is a 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake here. Now I'm going to go just a little bit south and west here on the San Andreas Fault. Let's go back up here to the north. Okay, as I said before, the San Andreas Fault starts up here just off the coast of Northern California. Then as you can see, it migrates southward. It comes ashore here just north of San Francisco Bay, and then it goes back out to sea for a short time period. Then it turns more inland. Right here we have a 1.4 tremor here near Ridgemark, California. Further south, Tres Pinos. We've seen a lot of seismic activity here at Tres Pinos in the past, recent past, on the San Andreas Fault. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Further south here, also on the San Andreas, the Pinnacles, California. The Pinnacles here is not just on the San Andreas Fault, but it's also an oil and gas drilling area here on the San Andreas Fault, causing earthquakes. This is a 1.9 2.0 earthquake here. Further south, 2 kilometers, 1 mile southeast of the Pinnacles. This is a 3.2 small earthquake. 3.2 small earthquake here on the San Andreas Fault. Let's go further south. Right up here, we have Parkfield, California, earthquake capital of the world. Yet it's not showing any earthquakes here at all. None at all. Let me show you something. Just south of the Pinnacles, USGS is not showing you this. San Ardo, California, we have a 0.7 microquake. 0.7 microquake, San Ardo, California. That's southwest of the San Andreas Fault. Interesting. Interesting. Here it is on the San Andreas. Here it is here on the USGS map here. Okay, let's go south. Okay. Pine Mountain Club. Pine Mountain Club here on the San Andreas Fault. This is a 1.1 tremor. Further south here, the San Andreas Fault intercepts the Gorda Ridge here. I'm sorry, not the Gorda Ridge. That's a faux pas. That's my one faux pas for today. Okay. We have a fault zone here that runs from the San Andreas Fault all the way up here to Ridgecrest. Okay. We don't have any earthquakes on the fault here today. Usually we do. But just north of the fault, Tehachapi, California, a 1.1 tremor. Further out here to the north, Lamont, California, another 1.1 tremor. Let's go up here to the north into the volcanic area. Kernville, California, 1.3 tremor here. Further here to the north, Olancha, California, 62 miles north of Ridgecrest. 62 miles north of Ridgecrest. This is a minus 0.1 microquake. Really? Again, they say this is above sea level. It's not. It's not. This is 2.5 miles deep. 2.5 miles deep, over 10,000 feet deep. This is not above sea level at all. This is a microquake, but it's not above sea level at all. Okay? Let's go over here at north of Ridgecrest here. What do we have? We have some earthquakes and microquakes here. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Little Lake, California. We have swarms of earthquakes here almost every day. South of here, this is a 0.1. This is 2 miles deep. Up here to the north is 1.2, 1.5 miles deep. The swarm here, again, look where it's at. It's in Little Lake, but it's in a volcanic area. What do we know about volcanic area? When we see a volcanic area, we know there's magma down there. We know there's magma because the magma is helping the volcanoes come back to life. The volcanoes are recharging. This is a 0.6 microquake. This is a 1.5 tremor. This is a 1.0 tremor. This is a 1.1 tremor. This is 0.7 microquake. This is 0.3. And this is 0.6 in the volcanic area here. I believe what we have is not earthquakes here. We have magma causing the earth to move here. Magma down beneath the surface causing rock fracturing. Causing rock fracturing. That's what's really going on here. Further north here, the 0.3, this is 22 kilometers east of Little Lake, California. Okay? That's what's happening here. Southern California is moving. If it's not volcanic, guys, it's seismic. Seismic energy. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. What's going on here in the greater area of Los Angeles? Baldwin Hills. Go figure. Baldwin Hills. What do we have here, guys? This is just outside east of Baldwin Hills here. North and east of the Baldwin Hills. What do we have here? What are the Baldwin Hills, guys? What are the Baldwin Hills right here? Oil and gas drilling here, guys. Oil and gas drilling. Just north of the Baldwin Hills, we have a 2.3 minor earthquake. 2.3 minor earthquake. Why? Why? Because men have drilled into the upper areas of the earth here to drill in here to get oil and gas. They drilled into the upper ground here to get oil and gas out of the ground. Each of those oil and gas drill points is a man-made earthquake fault. That's why we have this earthquake today near the Baldwin Hills. Oil and gas drilling. Now, I believe there's about 80 or 90 pumps and jacks all throughout the Baldwin Hills here. All throughout the Baldwin Hills here. And south of Baldwin Hills, what do we have? People living here, residential areas. North of Baldwin Hills, they have a golf course here, right? Wonderful thing. And right up here, where we have this earthquake, a 2.3 minor earthquake, we have a bunch of homes here, residential area. This happens to be 5 miles deep. 5 miles deep. Oil and gas drilling, guys. Oil and gas drilling here in the Baldwin Hills area. That's what caused this earthquake. Okay? Up here, Topanga Hills, Topanga State Park. Encino, California. The 0.8 microquake here. Okay? What's going on here? They don't show much of anything going on here except over here by Corona. Yorba Linda. Good old Yorba Linda. We have a 1.2 tremor here. They say this is 2 miles east-southeast of Yorba Linda. For those of you that don't know who famous here was born in Yorba Linda, former President Richard M. Nixon. He became president in 1968. He resigned from office just prior to 1974. Former President Richard Nixon was born here in Yorba Linda, California. We have a 1.1 tremor here, just east-southeast Yorba Linda. Los Angeles. There are a lot more earthquakes here in Los Angeles than what they're showing. They rarely show exactly what's going on. Okay? Further here to the north. Bear Lake. Good old Bear Lake. Did you know Bear Lake, or I shouldn't say Bear Lake itself, but Bear Mountain here, Big Bear, is a volcano. 1.0 tremor here. Yucaipa, on the San Andreas Fault. 1.3. South there, Morongo Valley, 0.8 microquake. Just southwest of there, on the San Jacinto Fault. Beaumont, California, is 0.7 microquake. Down here in Banning, also on the San Jacinto, 1.1 tremor. Also on the San Jacinto here, Idlewild, California. This over in the west side of the San Bernardino Mountains. Idlewild with a 0.3 microquake. And then, what do we have here? This is northeast San Diego County, the Anza-Borrego Desert, a 0.8 microquake here. Over here towards Oceanside, just east of Oceanside, guess what? This is right between Oceanside and Escondido, northeast San Diego County, on another fault. On another fault. This is on the Elsinore Fault. Palomar Mountain, a 0.8 microquake at Palomar Mountain, San Diego County. Almost directly south here, this is Julian, California. The El Center Fault here as well. 1.1 tremor here. Going back up here to the San Jacinto, Borrego Springs, Anza Borrego Desert State Park, 0.8. Then we come down here to the Imperial Valley in the Salton Sea near, and I'm talking very close to, the Salton Butte volcano. The Salton Butte volcano is over here in the southern part of the Salton Sea. Guess what? We have a 1.7 tremor here. USBS says this is 18 kilometers north-northwest of Westmoreland. No, it's not north-northwest. It's north of Westmoreland, California. This is a 1.7 tremor here in the Salton Sea, very close to the Salton Butte volcano. And if I might say, it's probably at the Salton Butte volcano. It's also 2 miles deep. 2 miles deep in the Salton Butte volcano. That's what's going on. Let me show you where Westmoreland is. Right there. There's Westmoreland right there. If anything, this earthquake here, this tremor here, is not 18 kilometers north-northwest. It's 18 kilometers north of Westmoreland, California. They no longer have an operational seismograph here in Westmoreland. They used to. Westmoreland here used to have all kinds of tremors and minor earthquakes here. 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes here. They probably still do, but they never show it. And we don't have a seismogram to show it to you either. They closed down the seismograph completely. I want to go over here. Calipatria, California. Just south of the Salton Butte volcano. There's anywhere from 75 to 150 earthquakes here every day in Calipatria. Every day. But they never show you on the map here. At least once a week, I show you the earthquakes here in Calipatria. These earthquakes just don't happen once a day. They happen every day, multiple times a day. Calipatria, California. Now, I haven't seen Juanito come in here in the chat. Juanito lives down here in El Centro. He lives down here in El Centro. North of El Centro is a town called Imperial. All this area is in the Imperial County. The town of Imperial has all kinds of tremors, all kinds of minor earthquakes, and all kinds of 3.0 and large earthquakes here in the town of Imperial. Every day down here in El Centro, where Juanito and his family live, we have earthquakes here. We have earthquake after earthquake after earthquake. And I'm saying 3.0 to 3.3 earthquakes here every day. Multiple. Upwards of 20 to 25 3.0 earthquakes here every day. El Centro, California. Wonderful place. Wonderful place. This didn't start happening until a year ago. A year ago, all of a sudden, we have these 3.0 and large earthquakes. It's continuing. We've also had 3.0 earthquakes in the Imperial County, or in the town of Imperial here. Happening. Every day. Every day. Then we go out east here to Holtville. Holtville. Some of my old stomping grounds. Back in the 70s, mid-70s, we had a speech and debate team drill here, or speech and debate team competition here in Holtville at Holtville High School. Guess what? I was part of the speech and debate team and I won. Holtville here has a seismograph. It also records earthquakes here. Small 3.0, 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes here every day, along with a bunch of tremors here in Holtville. We're going to show you that probably tomorrow. Earthquakes everywhere, guys. Literally earthquakes everywhere. Let's go up here, okay? Northern California. Now, this is just south of a great big, huge lake here called Pyramid Lake. Pyramid Lake. This earthquake just south of Pyramid Lake is important. It's on the Walker Lane Fault. Spanish Springs, Nevada. This is the 1.4 tremor here in the Walker Lane Fault area. Why is that important? If we go further south here along the Walker Lane Fault, what do we have right here? Sure is Nevada. Sure, Nevada. This is another 2.8 earthquake on the Walker Lane Fault. Interesting, huh? Guess what? All up and down the Walker Lane Fault, we have earthquakes. They're not showing them here, but there are earthquakes here. There are tremors here. There are microquakes here. The reason I'm going to mention this here is because this is exactly what we're talking about. Earthquakes all up and down the fault line. The Walker Lane Fault. Down here, Big Pine, California. The Walker Lane Fault. Let's continue going south here. Let's continue going south. Over here on the eastern side of the fault, Beatty, Nevada. Beatty, Nevada is a volcanic area, volcanic field. Just north of Beatty here, also 40 kilometers northeast of Beatty, we have a 1.0 tremor also in the volcanic area here, volcanic field. But we continue south here on the Walker Lane Fault. What do we come down to? Right here, Little Lake, California. We go south here to the Salton Sea. The Salton Sea, the San Andreas Fault. The Walker Lane Fault joins the San Andreas Fault. Then the San Andreas Fault continues out of California here, crosses the U.S.-Canadian border, U.S.-Mexico border. Yes, Dave, doesn't go into Canada. The San Andreas Fault does not go into Canada. It comes down here into Mexico. Walker Lane Fault and the San Andreas Fault come down here into the Gulf of California. Why am I talking about this? Because some point in time in the future, if you look at the old Navy map, the old Navy map is going to show you an inland waterway here. At some point in time in the future, this area is going to completely open up. Huge major earthquakes are going to happen to open up this area. There will be an inland waterway from the Gulf of California all the way up here to the north. All the way up here to the northern part of California. All the way up here to Pyramid Lake. All the way to here, Pyramid Lake. Huge inland waterway is going to open up. That's why I'm talking about this. This is exactly why I'm talking about this. Gonna happen. Gonna happen. Southwestern Texas, we always have swarms of earthquakes. Why? Because this is an oil field. Oil fields. Every time you see an earthquake here in Texas, it's because the earthquakes are in the middle of an oil field. Again, oil and gas drilling. Oil and gas drilling. Each one of these great big huge holes in the ground pulling oil and gas out of the ground is a man-made earthquake fault. A man-made earthquake fault. Let's go over here. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to show you some of the oil and gas platforms here. Like right here, just on the east side of one of the oil and gas platforms, we have a 1.2 tremor here in Toyah, Texas. Toyah, Texas. You can see the oil and gas platforms all over the map. Literally all over the map. Let's go further east here. Let's go further east. Right here. All these earthquakes are in the middle of an oil and gas drilling field. Each and every one of them. Right here is a 1.4 tremor here in Midland, Texas. Midland, Texas. Look at all the oil and gas platforms here in Midland, Texas. Right smack dab in the middle of an oil and gas field here. Okay? Every time they drill, those drill points attract seismic energy off the Pacific plate. That seismic energy travels across the North American craton here, the North American plate, comes over here to Stanton, Texas. About a year ago, we had a 5.1 earthquake here in Stanton, Texas. We still have earthquakes here. Earthquakes because of the oil and gas platforms. Oil and gas drilling here. 0.7 microquake here near Stanton, Texas. Every time. Further east here, Stanton, Texas again. This is a 0.9 microquake, 10 kilometers east-northeast of Stanton, Texas. Further over here to the southeast, Forson, Texas, oil and gas, 1.3 tremor here. All over this area here. Up here to the northeast, Snyder, Texas. A year or so ago, we had a 5.3 earthquake up here in Snyder, Texas. Oil and gas. 1.8 tremor here in Snyder, Texas area. Look at the oil and gas platforms all over this area. Huge. Huge oil and gas field here. Now, go over here to Oklahoma. I'm not sure how many oil and gas platforms or oil and gas pumps and jacks are in Texas. Hundreds of thousands. Here in Oklahoma, you see 2 earthquakes here. Really? Only 2? Guess what? There's a lot more than that. They are not even showing you all the earthquakes here either. Down here in the south, Minco, Oklahoma. We have a small cache of earthquakes here. This is 1.4. This is the 2.0. This is a 0.9, 1.0. This is a 1.3 tremor. Minco, Oklahoma, oil and gas. You can see the oil and gas platforms here. Anywhere from 6 to 10 miles away from any of these oil and gas platforms, we could have an earthquake related specifically to any one of these oil and gas platform drill points. That happens literally all over Oklahoma. 586 oil and gas platforms all over Oklahoma. 586,000 oil and gas platforms here in Oklahoma. Up here to the north, Calumet, Oklahoma, 3.2 earthquake, 1.6 tremor, 1.5, 2.0 earthquake, 1.6, that's a tremor, 2.4 earthquake. To the north, 1.6. Up here, a 2.1 minor earthquake. Look at the oil and gas platforms in this area here. All these earthquakes are a result of oil and gas drilling here. 586,000 oil and gas platforms all over Oklahoma. All over Oklahoma. Incredible. Incredible. Over here, Kansas. We also have, in some cases, oil and gas platforms here in Kansas. This is Stockton, Kansas. Look at this. This is a 3.3 earthquake here. Now, I don't see any oil and gas platforms here in Kansas, but there are some. This may be along a fault zone. This may be along a fault zone. I see a river running here to the southeast of this earthquake. Rivers are fault zones as well. Many times, anywhere where you see a river, underneath the river is also a fault. This is a 3.3 earthquake here in Stockton, Kansas. It says this is 2.5 miles northwest of Stockton, Kansas. I'm going to say it's in Stockton. It's close enough to Stockton to be inside the city. Okay? That's what's going on here. Okay? We go over here to the New Matter Fault. Guess what? On the fault. On the fault. Howardville, Missouri. This is a 2.0 earthquake here in Missouri. On the New Matter Fault Zone. Now, they're only reporting a 2.0 earthquake. In the past, I've shown you all kinds of earthquakes. We have tremors, we have minor earthquakes, and we have 3.0 large earthquakes here on the New Matter Fault. Again, the USGS is lying about what's going on here. They're completely lying about what's going on. I can show you seismographs all throughout this area. There are seismographs located all over Missouri, all over Louisiana, all over Arkansas, all over Mississippi, Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee. Seismographs all over. Earthquakes happening all over the New Matter Fault. The center of the New Matter Fault is Missouri. They show one lousy earthquake here in Missouri on the fault. I can guarantee you there are at least 2 or 3 dozen other earthquakes here on the fault today. I can pull it up on the seismographs to prove it. I'll do that this week. We'll do that this week. The New Matter Fault is moving, and it's moving in a big way. With all the seismic activity here on the New Matter, I think we're probably going to have a major earthquake here on the New Matter Fault within the next 2 years. I don't think we're going to get past 2 years before a major earthquake happens here. Okay? It's going to happen. A few minutes ago over here in Canada, there was a 2.0 earthquake here in Canada. They've since taken it down. Let me go over to my device and see if it shows here on the device. Give me a second. Bingo. Bingo. Over here near the St. Lawrence Seaway here. Okay? Up here. Now I know this is French. I can't speak French. La Malbaie, Quebec, Canada. La Malbaie, Canada. This is a 2.09 minor earthquake. 2.09 minor earthquake here near the just south of the St. Lawrence Seaway. Incredible. Incredible. Right there. Okay. I knew it was there. When USGS takes it down, I go over to my EMSC European map and I can find it. And by the way, guys, this is the My Earthquake app. My Earthquake app takes earthquakes right off the EMSC European Seismic Network. They take it right off, so you can go over here and pull up earthquakes all day long. Literally all day long. just for kicks and giggles. Just for kicks and giggles, let's go up here to Iceland. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Iceland. What the heck is that? Why are they not showing earthquakes here? Let me show you something. Let me show you earthquakes here. Bethel. This is a 3.2 earthquake. Bethel, Iceland, a 3.2 minor small earthquake. 3.2 small earthquake. Okay? There's another one here. There's another one here. See this great big huge glacier here? This great big huge glacier right here? Underneath this glacier, we have a volcano. We have a volcano. Guess what? There's a 2.0 earthquake right there. 2.0 earthquake right there. Let me blow this European map up so you can see what I'm talking about. 2.0 earthquake right there. Again, the USGS isn't going to show it to you. But north of there, north of Iceland, they're not showing us anything going on here. Really? Right up here. Right there. Jan Mayen region. Jan Mayen region, this is on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. This is a 4.5 earthquake here on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. USGS not showing it. Why not? Why not, guys? Why are they not showing it? Interesting enough. Guess what? There's even an earthquake north of here. Okay, right up here. Svalbard. Svalbard, guys. Svalbard. Svalbard is owned by Norway. Owned by Norway. This is a 3.4 earthquake right here. 3.4 earthquake just east of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Svalbard, out here in north. I would think this isn't the Atlantic plate here. So this is probably the North Sea. This is probably the North Sea out here. Yes, Rich, that one earthquake over by the St. Lawrence Seaway is pretty close to you. Do we have any questions at all? Do we have any questions here? Just for kicks and giggles. I want to go over to Scandinavia since I used to live in Sweden. I want to go over to Scandinavia. What could possibly happen here in Scandinavia? What could possibly happen here in Scandinavia? Let's go up here north of Stockholm. Gävle, Sweden. Gävleborg, Sweden, right up here. Guess what? 1.6 tremor here. Gävle, Sweden. Now, guys, if you knew Sweden, guess what that word would mean? If you actually not Sweden, if you knew Swedish, the Swedish language, what does Gävle mean? G-A with 2 dots above it, V-L-E. What does Gävle mean? Means Satan, means the devil. They have a town, and it's a very highly populated town. Probably 60,000 people live in Yevla. They live in the town of the devil. Yeah. Now let's go south to southwestern Sweden here. Southwestern Sweden, right here. Lake Vänersborg. Okay. This is a 1.9 tremor here. A 1.9 tremor here in southwestern Sweden. Lake Vänersborg. Interesting, huh? I think it's fascinating myself. Let's go over to southeastern Norway. Let's go over here to southeast Norway. I can't wait to show you this. This is not the first earthquake we've seen here. This is a 1.4 tremor here near Telemark, Norway. Telemark, Norway here. 1.4 tremor. Now, I haven't taken you all over the world, but I've shown you a lot of the earthquakes. For kicks and giggles, let's look at northern Italy. Let's look over into the area around the Alps Mountains. Let's go take a look at this. You might want to see this. USGS shows us no earthquakes. Look at this. Earthquakes all over the Italian Alps, the German Alps, the Swiss Alps, and over into France. Over into Spain as well. For kicks and giggles, France, this is the 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 earthquake. Going over here towards the Alps here in France, this is also another 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. Over here at the border of Germany and France, this is another 2.1 earthquake here. Interesting. Germany, Birkendorf, Germany. Another 1.4 tremor here. Let's go over here into the Italian Alps here. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Let's go over here to the resort area of Italy. Coastal Ligure, Italy. 1.5 tremor here. Let's go down to Spain. Look at these earthquakes here in Spain. Up here at the border of Portugal and Spain, we have a 2.2 and we have a 1.6 tremor here. 2.2 and a 1.6 tremor here up here at the border area of Portugal and Spain. Southern Spain, 5 earthquakes here. I'm just going to point them out. We have a 1.6, we have a 2.2, we have a 1.9, we have a 2.8, and a 2.0. We have all 2s here from a 2.0 to 2.8 earthquake. 5 earthquakes there. The Strait of Gibraltar. Just east of the Strait of Gibraltar, we have 2 earthquakes here. We have actually 3 earthquakes here. We have a 2.0, we have a 1.8 tremor, and a 3.3 earthquake. 2.0, 3.3, and a 1.8 tremor there. Just west of the Strait of Gibraltar here. Right there. Okay? So I pretty much showed you the world. I haven't showed you all over Italy because guess what? We have a volcano over in Italy. Vesuvius volcano. Vesuvius volcano. And USGS doesn't want us to see what's going on. Really? USGS doesn't want us to know what's going on. Guess what? Here's a 1.2 tremor here. 1.2 tremor near the volcano. On the east side over here, a 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. Interesting, huh? It really is. It gets very interesting when you start looking at what's going on. Okay? But again, our agency here in the U.S. isn't going to tell you about it. Not going to do it. For whatever reason, they're not going to do it. Now, I want to go over here to the USGS map real quick. Kicks and giggles. This time to Greece. To Greece, guys. Look at this. Over here in the Aegean Sea here. The Aegean Sea. Guess what? We have, for the first time in quite a long time, we have a large 5.0 earthquake. This is a large 5.0 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. This happened at 12:27 p.m. Eastern Time today. Large 5.0 earthquake here. We haven't had a 5.0 earthquake here in Greece for several years. It's been at least 2 or 3 years since we've had a 5.0 earthquake. The last 5.0 earthquake happened up here in northern Greece. Now over here, just northeast of Athens, we have another 5.0 earthquake over here in the Aegean Sea here. Incredible. Incredible. That's what's going on, guys. And I know I've gone over just over 2 hours. I'm sorry about that. But I wanted you to see what's going on. You have the right to know. You have the right to know. Also, down here on the Antarctic Ridge, we have another 5.0 earthquake here. On the Antarctic Ridge here, between South America and Africa. The Antarctic Ridge. Okay, this is a 5.1 earthquake, and right next to it here, we have a 5.0 earthquake here. Okay, so here we have a 5.1, and this is a 5.0 earthquake here. Large earthquakes. Large earthquakes, guys. Any questions? Do we have any questions from anybody? I've taken an awful lot of time talking to you about what's going on, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. Excuse me. We show you the world. We showed you the United States as well. Any questions? Linda Covington is saying, show the Afghanistan update, earthquakes. Yeah, we can briefly go there. Let's go back here to the USGS map here for a second. Let me take down our EMA banner here. Okay. Over here on the east side of China, or excuse me, on the west side of China, and also on the west side of Pakistan and India, Afghanistan. Yes, we continue having earthquakes here. They're going to continue to happen for a long time. We've seen large earthquakes here all the time. Again, last week we had a 6.0 earthquake. Last week we had a 6.0 earthquake. Earthquakes will continue to happen here. Let me show you something with my device here. Look at the earthquakes continuing to happen here. This is no joke. Going up here to the northeast, northwest here. That's a 3.7. Now see those 4 other earthquakes there just to the east? Let's look at that. Actually, there's 5 of them. Going west-east here. 4.0, 4.0, 4.0, 2.7, 4.0, 4.4, 4.0s and one 2.7 earthquake. Just south of there, 3 more earthquakes. Okay, 3.9, 3.7, and 3.7. That area is still shaking. All of these earthquakes are all aftershocks. All these earthquakes are all aftershocks. And how dare the USGS not show these earthquakes? Just got through having a very strong earthquake, a 6.0 very strong earthquake here. And yet the USGS can't bother showing the swarm of earthquakes still happening there. People died. People died here. Over 3,000 people died in this area. Over 3,000 people died and over 5,000 people been injured. Unreal. When the company says aftershocks, every one of those are aftershocks. Every one of those are aftershocks. And again, a week later, USGS doesn't even want to talk about it. Now, I've heard the death tolls upwards of 5,000. I've been told the earthquake death there is nearly 5,000 people and over 5,000 people injured from a 6.0 earthquake, a shallow 6.0 earthquake. If this had been a deep earthquake, we probably never would have seen any deaths or injuries. But because of this being a shallow earthquake, guess what? The seismic energy shook those homes and completely demolished those mud homes. Mud homes. And also the caves that those people lived in. Gone. Completely gone. Heaven forbid we see what's going on. And then Covington says USB has nothing to see. Pretty much. Pretty much. Any questions? Now I know I've been here quite a long time. I'm going to shut down the USGS map here. I'm going to shut down the USGS map here. YouTube says we have 25 people watching us. 25 people watching us. That's a far cry from what we usually have. That's a huge far cry from what we usually have. We usually have anywhere from 600 to 700 people watching our program. Not likely here. I think people got bored and left us here, unfortunately. Guys, I love you. The Lord loves you. The Lord loves each one of us. Now, guys, I'm going to ask you for one thing. Pray for our countries. Pray for the United States of America that we might help turn our countries around. Not just turn our cities here in the United States around, but help turn our countries around throughout the world. President Trump is doing a wonderful job, but I believe we need to pray to God. Pray to God that we are turned around. Pray to God that the United States of America and the rest of this world is turned around. Joseph Bell was in the chat, said hi. Hi, Joseph, it's good to see you. Let's pray for America. Let's pray for our entire world. May God bless each one of us. Now, if anything else happens tonight or in the morning, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. So, guys, that's it. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. God be with you all. God be with you all. I want to thank our mods as well. Demon Catman Guy, I love you, brother. You're a godsend. Each and every one of our mods here are godsends. I love each one of you very much. I want to tell you that. You guys mean the world to me. May God bless each one of you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the end of this program. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.